Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to do DIY quick and easy shabby chic Easter decor. So for one project, we're going to use a large foam egg. I've had this one for quite a few years, but I got it at Michael's, but you can get it at Walmart. Then, of course, some plastic eggs. We're going to use one of the large ones that I got from the 99-cent only store, as well as some of the pink wire-edged burlap ribbon, but you can use any ribbon that matches your flowers. Then I'm going to use a bouquet of white hydrangea as well as a bouquet of pink cherry blossoms, but you can use any colored flowers that you want. You'll see what we mean in a minute. And then we're going to use buttons. These are buttons that I got at the Dollar Tree, plus some ones that I've had, but we're just going to use white ones for that look. Of course, your glue gun as well as your scissor. And then we're also going to use a little foam egg that I got from the Dollar General in a set, but I'll show you that in a second. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a button egg, and I picked the foam egg from the Dollar General. Do you see it was a 3-pack there? These are much smaller, but I picked them because they're already white. Walmart does sell a dozen white eggs for a couple of dollars, I found out. They're actually in a carton and they're plastic, so you can use those if you want to. But if you have a colored egg and you want to make a colored button egg, that's fine. That would be really cute. So all I'm doing is I'm just covering this egg with white buttons. Very pearlesque, very white, different shades. I like the different sizes. I kind of like that. That does really add to that shabby chic feel. Now, whenever possible, I would just put down a section of glue. And whenever possible, if a button had a sort of concave feel to it, basically a dip into the button, I would turn it upside down to keep the shape of the egg a little bit more conform to the shape of the eggs the egg is what I'm saying. And then there was one button that actually had a shaft on the back, and I just stuck that into the egg because it was foam. So if you're going to use plastic eggs, you might need to cut the shank, not shaft, the shanks off the back of the buttons. I need a nap. Just go ahead and fill it in. As you can see here, I did a variety of shades of white. I really liked the way that looked. But if you had a set of all of the same exact buttons, you could do that. Look would be very pretty as well. The Dollar Tree also sells pearl stickers, which would be cute to cover an egg in pearl stickers. They also sell actual pearl beads. I don't know, that might be a little bit more difficult, but you definitely probably, you could do that with a foam egg if you had, if that was your only option. That's what I was trying to say. Okay. But as you can see here, I'm going super fast. This is 4 times speed because, you know, who wants to sit here and watch me put buttons on an egg all day? But doing these kinds of projects in foam kind of reminds me of my Aunt Pat a lot. My Aunt Pat used to do lots of crafts with straight pins and beads and foam, all kinds of crafts. And I kind of feel like we're going to start doing stuff like that. And I don't know if you guys are interested, but I think we might kick it old school a little bit. I was kind of thinking about doing retro, either retro week or one day a week, do like retro projects. So let me know in the comments down below if you guys would be interested in that, especially you youngsters. You know, a lot of you women who've been around a while, you know, it's not really retro to you because it's, you know, we did it 20 years ago. I guess, I don't know. What am I saying? So I just continued to cover. I actually decided, which, see that I picked the pink one out. I kind of was like, I wonder how it looked to just be like a kiss of pink on the egg. I just put it in one spot, and I figured if I didn't like it, I can always put that spot towards the back, which is fine. I think in the thumbnail I actually did put that spot towards the back, but it's a pretty pale pearlesque pink button. And like I said, you could just put it towards the back and nobody will ever see it. So there's that one. For the next one, we're going to do a burlap egg. We did the burlap eggs the other day. This one's just going to be a tiny bit different of a technique. What I'm going to do is I'm going to measure a piece of ribbon that I made sure it goes from tip to tip or end to end. And then I'm going to fold it in half widthways. So I'm going to basically make a long folded in half strip of burlap. And then I'm going to cut it, basically make 2 pieces that have slimmed out at the top. So sort of making like darts almost from sewing. And the reason we're doing this is because we just want to be able to give the piece enough to wrap around and to not be too bulky. But we can trim it. And that's where I was going to get to today. So what we did there is we laid down some glue. Make sure, be careful, you don't want to burn yourself, but use whatever method you can to press the ribbon down in the glue, and then once it's settled, you can go ahead and trim off any excess that cuts around the curve. But just the shape like this really does hold that curve a lot better than any of the straight edges we were using the other day. All right, and then you're just going to repeat it. This one I ended up using 7 strips. So it was 3 pieces of ribbon and ended up making 4 pieces of ribbon, excuse me, ended up making 7 strips. And that's what I used to cover. And then anytime I had extra, I just went ahead and I trimmed it off. If it overlapped the piece previously, the piece that was next to it, if it overlapped it too much, I went ahead and I just trimmed it off. All right, and then I just used whatever little tiny tips of glue, little tiny bits of glue under the edges to fold the edges down as well. Okay. Now you want to repeat this around the entire egg, trimming as necessary. And now this doesn't have to be the neatest because this is actually a pink flower egg. Now we're going to cover this entirely. Well, actually, we're only going to cover this one half in flowers. But we're going to cover this one half in flowers, and you know, you don't have to worry so much about what the back looks like or what the underneath looks like. And if you all wave your hands over the TV or cell phone or computer, through the magic of television, voila, it is entirely covered in ribbon. Yay. Oh, all right, we have to one more piece in the back. So this piece was a little bit wider than the other ones, and I made it that way on purpose. I filled in the whole last piece of plastic just with glue. I didn't overlap any of the 2 previous ribbons. This way I was able to trim real close to the section we needed. All right, and I was able to fit it very nicely. All right, and then do the same thing, just flatten out any of the edges. So now, like I said, I did this entirely in burlap first because I was only going to cover half of it in flowers because I wanted the back to be able to be, you know, if we were leaning against something, it would still look like farmhouse. It wouldn't look like I stuck things to a plastic egg. I don't know. That's not necessary, I guess. I don't know. That's just my feelings anyway. Okay, so after I trimmed up all of the loose hairs and such, I went ahead and I found these beautiful pink cherry blossoms. These are not the long stems of cherry blossoms. These were short stems that I got at the Dollar Tree, and I plucked off all of the blossoms. All right. Now, if you did want to cover this entire egg in flowers, you would just need 2 stems of these cherry blossoms, or you might want to use a smaller egg. This is one of the large eggs from the Dollar Tree. Basically, they sell, I think, 6 or 8 large eggs you can get, as opposed to the 12 or so small eggs, or 18 or so small eggs you can get. All right, and then these cherry blossoms from the Dollar Tree, some have dark pink centers, some have light pink centers, some are a little smaller because they come from what's supposed to be like the newest buds. So I made sure that I mixed them up onto the surface of the egg. But if you really wanted to put the new blossoms towards the skinny tip of the egg and put the older ones towards the bottom, you could design it that way. But I just really wanted to mix it up. All right. Now my plan for this is to put this in an egg holder. I actually have this really cute egg holder from 100 years ago. I don't have it. You didn't see it in the thumbnail there that way. But I've had it for a really long time and I like it. So that was my plan for this, is to put that in an egg holder, which is why I don't need the back decorated in flowers. But the next project we're going to do is to recreate an egg-shaped hydrangea. And if you wanted to go ahead and add a stem to this to make it also a flower, quote unquote flower, you could. What I would do if that's the case is I would poke a hole in the plastic in the bottom at first, and then when you're done covering with fabric, you can go ahead and find that hole again, cut it open so that you could stick your stem in there. And for this next one, I actually was really inspired by Sarah Jane from Chic on the Cheap. Hi, Sarah Jane. She loves hydrangea. I love hydrangea. We have a lot in common, but she loves hydrangea as well, and she has a very, very clean decor in her house. Very, very simple. I do love it. Um, I just, of course, am much busier. I got a lot of stuff. But I really loved the idea of recreating a egg hydrangea. Um, what I'm doing here is cutting all of the stems down. If you've been around on my channel for a while, I showed a hack of how to recreate a more realistic looking hydrangea from Dollar Tree hydrangea. Basically, we cut all the stems down and we just put those pieces back on a very short stem that made them look much more snowbally, like the kind that you get at Walmart. But what I've done is I cut all the stems down, and I'm going to take the leaves off of all of them except for one. Now this is an option to leave the leaf on. You can also glue the leaves on later, and we're going to do that as well. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of the stems, I'm going to squish them together, and I'm going to shove them up inside the egg. I'm not gluing them even. I'm just going to use that, and I've pulled the leaves down. And now what I'm doing is I'm cutting off all the blossoms. So all the blossoms have basically, the part that sticks to a stem holds about 4 or 5 blossoms, depending on where on the flower it is. So what I've actually cut off is each bud head. I've actually cut off each blossom head from its respective stems. So I've kept the centers in there, and then a tiny portion of the stem across the back. All right, and I've done this to just one bunch. This whole recreation is just going to be one bunch of hydrangea. As a matter of fact, I didn't even use the whole bunch. And this is about a 5-inch egg. It's actually pretty substantial in size. All right. I had this egg left over from when I was in Homemakers, and we made these really cute penguins out of Easter eggs. I'm telling you, super cute. Then just start gluing. Now, just like we talked about with the cherry blossoms a few minutes ago, these hydrangea bunches have different size blossoms depending on where they are in the bunch. And some of them actually have like a brown center, sort of a green, maybe yellow center, and some of them have like a white center. So what I tried to do is I tried to mix up the decor, not the decor, I tried to mix up the look. Some, stuck some white ones, some big ones around the bottom, the little ones towards the top of the egg. I wanted to do that because I kind of wanted it to keep an egg shape. I didn't want it to just look like a tall bunch of hydrangea. I wanted it to still have its egg shape. So towards the very top where the egg gets tapered, I used the little hydrangea bush bunches, blossoms, and towards the bottom I used the bigger ones. Okay. And like I said, this just made me think of her, honestly. The way I went ahead and I don't show you in the tutorial how I displayed it. I was thinking about actually displaying them like flowers. If I had more than one egg, I might. But since I just have the one egg, I went ahead and I took a little galvanized bucket that says home that I had gotten from the Dollar General for $1. I stuck a piece of foam in the bottom, and I just stuck it in, and it actually almost looks like a hydrangea egg topiary. It's really super cute, though. It's sitting over there on the table. It's really super cute. And just like you can imagine, we're just adding some glue, sticking in the blossoms. What I did start off with is I started off making them sort of more spread out. I wanted to make sure that I had enough blossoms to give it even coverage with just one bouquet. I actually had several bouquets, but I wanted to just make this less expensive, since we did use a more expensive egg, by just using $1 worth of flowers. And then turns out that I didn't even use a whole $1 worth of flowers. All right. So, like I said, I just try to mix it up, try to spin it around, get all the holidays. And then when I was towards the end and I thought I was just about finished, I went ahead and I started moving some of the blossoms that looked really open. I started moving the petals out of the way to see what was behind them, if there was any space to put another blossom, just to give it that more full hydrangea feel, I love hydrangea. Actually, I bought, it was one of the first things that I planted in my yard in New York. I had bought it for Easter one year. I absolutely fell in love with it as an Easter plant. And then I realized I could plant it in my yard. This is the first time I realized, I was young. It was the first time I realized you could transplant a potted plant into the ground. That's really what they were there for. But don't worry, it was the first of many. But what I love the most about hydrangea is that you take them inside, you can clip them, you can leave them in your house, you can dry them, and once they, even when they're dead, they still look like beautiful flowers. So that's it, everybody. That is all 3 of these tutorials. I hope you really enjoyed them. If you do, please give them a thumbs up. If you have any questions at all, leave them in the comments down below. Don't forget to share this video with friends and family, anybody who might be interested in seeing how to do one or all of these. And if you haven't yet, click subscribe, and when you do, a little bell will pop up. When you ring that bell, YouTube will let you know whenever I upload a new video. And as always, take care, God bless, and we'll see you next time. Bye!